Hello everyone, I'm very glad that you listened to my story. Please give me a follow and like the video if you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment and provide feedback so I can improve the sound quality. Yes, I will now continue the unfinished story. Chapter 25, The Two Boxes of Herbs. Upon seeing Soft Feather for the first time, a person's first impression would definitely be about her long legs. But after some interaction with her, the first thing that would come to mind would instead be her blushing smile. Somo. At this moment, Tubo and two other boys stood up and walked over to Shuhang's side and asked him, "Shuhang, did something happen?" They were Shuhang's three roommates. When they saw that this tall dark man was looking for Shuhang, they were worried as well as curious as to what was going on. "Nothing much, it's just an express delivery and they have two packages for me. I need to sign before I can accept it," Shuhang said with a smile. Then he turned back to ask Sima Zhang, "Little Zhang, it's nice to meet you. Where are the boxes?" "Little Zhang." The man in the suit's mouth twitched. How many years has it been since someone dared to address him as such? He never thought that he would have the chance to hear this from someone, moreover it came from a young man. However, this gave him a refreshing feeling as he laughed. "It is already at the entrance of your dormitory, we just need for you to verify it. Shall we go now then? It just so happens that I have a 15-minute break." Shuhang replied. Sima Zhang laughed, "I have been waiting for you to say that." Shuhang stood at the doorstep of his room on the second floor of the men's dormitory. Four men dressed in black suits were guarding a pair of 80cm x 80cm boxes with serious expressions on their faces. Shuhang was speechless. "Is your Feng Shao courier service always this amazing? Your service is so amazing, is there even a way out for other couriers?" "Haha, our service has always been amazing. However, the sender this time is rather special, which is why our service this time is of an even higher quality." Sima Zhang chortled. "Thank you for your hard work." Song Shuhang nodded, and looked at the courier receipt as he stood in front of the two boxes. As expected, on the sender column, the name Soft Feather was written. However, the sender's address and other columns weren't filled in. These two packing cases were probably the boxes of herbs for concocting the simplified body tempering liquid that Soft Feather had promised him. "Do you need to confirm the contents?" Sima Zhang asked politely. Fact was there was simply no need to look. Even if Sima Zhang had the heart of a dragon or guts of a tiger, he still wouldn't dare to open it without approval. "There's no need for that. If there are any problems, I will directly contact you." Song Shuhang waved him off, brandishing the name card in his hand. "That is natural, if there are no problems, may I please have student Shuhang sign here?" Sima Jiang's impression of Song Shuhang soared, and he pointed to the spot on the courier receipt that needed to be signed. "All right." Song Shuhang reached out and speedily signed his great name onto the line. "We shall now say our farewells to student Shuhang, we hope you have a good day." Sima Zhang waved his hand and left with the four men in tow. Shuhang felt that these five men did not look like couriers. They were also inhumanely muscular and intimidating. Song Shuhang opened his room's door. "Damn, I forgot to ask them to help move the two boxes inside. I hope they aren't heavy." He had a deep impression of Soft Feather's heavy luggage, and was worried that these two boxes' weight would be in tons. Fortunately, when he tried to lift the two boxes, he found that they weren't as heavy as expected. He carried them one by one into the room and then lifted them onto his bed. After closing the door, Song Shuhang impatiently opened the cardboard boxes. Inside the cardboard box, there were numerous small intricate wooden cases. Each cardboard box was comprised of 4 layers, and each layer contained 4 wooden cases. Altogether, there were 32 wooden cases in both boxes. Carefully inspecting the contents of the small wooden cases, he found over 40 medicinal ingredients in them. He noticed there were ginseng, goji berry, actinolite, lady's fragrance, and more. There were some that Shuhang had never seen before, but upon smelling them he felt his body and mind relax. It was as though he had been cleansed through the fragrance of these herbs. Among them there were probably the fresh overlord branch, the Nanyang scarlet flame bamboo slices and other Xianhuan ingredients. Song Shuhang stared blankly at these 2 boxes of medicinal ingredients. Without even mentioning the other ingredients within the boxes, just the pieces of ginseng inside were worth quite a considerable sum. As for the morning dew grass, overlord branch, and the Nanyang scarlet flame bamboo slices, these were very possibly 100 times more expensive than the ginseng. But their value wasn't the reason why Song Shuhang was blankly staring at them. There was only one thing on his mind. Aren't these the medicinal ingredients for the simplified body tempering liquid prescription? Using these medicinal ingredients, if he followed the recipe that the medicine master in the 9 provinces, 1, group had instructed, by simmering it in the cauldron while paying attention to the intensity of the heat, would he also be able to concoct the simplified body tempering fluid? Just what kind of effects does the body tempering liquid have? Could it really be like those narrated in Xiangxia novels, allowing one to experience rebirth? Perhaps by utilizing these herbs and following medicine master's instructions, I can ascertain the existence of cultivation. A thought emerged in Song Shuhang's mind. Once this thought came up, it was like an insatiable fire which couldn't be extinguished, causing him to be incredibly tempted. Song Shuhang didn't consider himself pig-headed. If the body tempering liquid truly possessed an effect like those mentioned in legends, then he would believe that cultivation truly exists. But if it really does exist, what was he going to do? Since there are no afternoon classes today, with a total of 45 different herbs, if each herb takes an approximate of 5 minutes, that would be about 3 to 4 hours. Within one afternoon, I can attempt it. Song Shuhang is the kind of person who does something if he wants to do it. Since he had made the decision to do it, then he had to make it happen. If I want to refine this pill, then I would first need a pill furnace. Something like a pill furnace definitely couldn't be found in the market. Perhaps it could be found on Doubao, but those that can be purchased were definitely only toys. Therefore, if he wanted to concoct the body tempering liquid this afternoon, trying to find a pill furnace would be unrealistic, so he had to find something to substitute it. Song Shuhang then walked into the attached kitchen and searched the cabinets. Soon, he managed to find something that could simmer herbs. A hot pot. But that thought only lasted for a moment before he rejected it. This won't do, this deviates too far from an actual pill furnace. He had never seen a pill furnace before, and so he didn't know whether it would be like those shown in movies. But no matter what, it should be some kind of stove. A hot pot would be too different. Upon putting the hot pot down, Shuhang searched the kitchen once more. After a long time, he still did not manage to find anything. Rice cooker, electric kettle, frying pan, pressure cooker, none of them could substitute a pill furnace. Although the pressure cooker appeared to be more logical, it was meant for cooking through use of high pressure, and couldn't be opened halfway/in between. Yet, to concoct the body tempering liquid, an ingredient has to be inserted every 5 minutes. In other words, after all that looking, he could only choose that one thing that seemed relatively suitable for the job. Song Shuhang helplessly stared at the hot pot. Well, since they're both used to simmer, why don't I just give it a shot? He pinched his chin. Since there's 32 sets of herbs, it would be acceptable even if he failed once. He just felt that it would be a little wasteful, after all these herbs seemed to be very valuable. Let's try it once at least. If I don't try I will never be successful. Besides, even if it fails, I can just think of it as an experience. Song Shuhang made up his mind. It shall begin this afternoon. Hopefully his roommates wouldn't mind his eccentricity in the kitchen, or maybe he should find somewhere else to quietly make this attempt. However, right now he had to return for his final class this morning before starting. Shuhang opened his cupboard, and placed the wooden cases containing the herbs into the cupboard, one by one. The cupboard provided by the school worked perfectly. Once he took his personal belongings that were in the cupboard out, all of the medicinal herbs were able to fit perfectly. This is great. If it hadn't fit, I wouldn't know where else I could hide them. Song Shuhang muttered. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Lt, report chapter.gt, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 26, My Extraordinary Pill Furnace Chuang Ko Noi Dunghin on Chapter 26, My Extraordinary Pill Furnace. After peacefully attending the last lesson of the day, Song Shuhang stored his textbook, then stood up and put his hand on his lower back as he stretched his back. At his side, the female student who had great curves once again parted reluctantly from him. At the same time, the thought of confessing to Shuhang rose once again. At the very least, for the length of this summer, she wanted to be Song Shuhang's girlfriend to enjoy his human air conditioner-like body. Shuhang felt chills from this girl's reluctant gaze. It was very awkward. Then, With impeccable timing, Tubo and two more of Shuhang's roommates walked over. Motherfucker, it's so hot that I nearly shed another layer of skin. Tubo used the textbook as a fan to keep himself cool. Beads of sweat continuously slid down his forehead. Oh yeah, Shuhang, do you want to hang out this afternoon? You still have the mood to go out and play in this sweltering heat? Shuhang joked. The sun was unforgiving today, and it definitely wasn't the kind of weather that was suitable for one to go out to have fun. Hehe, this fella Yang recently developed a computer program and sold it for a decent sum of money. So he wanted to rent a 3-room flat close to the school so that no one could disturb him. We're trying to help him a good place, and if we do find it, it could possibly become our second base of operations, and at the same time, we could freeload off of him tonight. Tubo laughed. Shuhang raised his thumb up towards his dark and skinny roommate. Yang, you really have good prospects. You're both good at tinkering with things, but you're much stronger than Tubo. You're able to earn money, while Tubo only knows how to spend money. Tubo. Yang laughed, exposing his 2 white rows of teeth. Despite his young age, he already had the stoic temperament of a programmer, and wasn't very good at talking. This was due to the fact that programmers often used keyboards to communicate more frequently than they used their mouths to speak. I'm busy this afternoon because I got to deal with the 2 boxes that I received today. Call me when you find a flat, and I'll come over immediately. Song Shuhang replied quickly. It was perfect that his roommates were planning to go out. This would allow him to try concocting in peace. You brat, you don't want to contribute yet you want freeload, huh? Tubo coldly accused him. I'm telling you, there's no way for that to happen. However, there's a window. Introduce your beautiful sister to us. Get lost. Song Shuhang said. There's no way for that to happen. However, there's room for negotiation. Treat me to supper tonight then. Song Shuhang didn't have much, but he did have a few beautiful sisters. As for the woman named Soft Feather that Tubo was thinking of, unfortunately, she wasn't his sister. Tubo's eyes immediately glittered as he showed an expression of making a profitable trade deal. Do we actually know Shuhang's beautiful sister? Yang felt suspicious about this. There was a sister who we met called Zhao Yaya when she sent Shuhang to Jiangnan University. Could it be that Tubo wants to pursue Shuhang's older female cousin? The difficulty seemed to be pretty high as elder sister Zhao's ball-busting kick looked like one that would leave him infertile. He thought of that day, the day when elder sister Zhao had sent Shuhang to school and encountered a few delinquent youths who didn't know better. Besides Tubo, Yang, and company all witnessed how strong elder sister Zhao was. Her 2 long legs casually kicked, each hit struck the family jewels. Elder sister Zhao had definitely had that practiced. Moreover, the skill ball-busting kick was surely put to use often. The few delinquents quickly fell to the ground, crying out loud while covering their balls. As witnesses, they felt as if their balls would hurt just from spectating the scene. After lunch, the 3 roommates left the dorm to go out, leaving Song Shuhang alone. Who? He took a deep breath and the pearl hanging around his neck calmed him down. This was a good situation to begin his project. Opening one of the small cases containing the herbs, Song Shuhang referred to the recipe of the tempering body pill that was created by the medicine master. Inside the case there were 4 layers, each layer containing over 10 kinds of herbs. Ginseng, goji berry, actinolite, lady's fragrance. Shuhang managed to identify over 30 herbs that could be found on the internet. Morning dew mysterious grass, and following that is the fresh overlord branch, the 9-yang scarlet flame bamboo and other items couldn't be found on the internet. Even if he did find something, it was either an equipment or a material in a game. One of the good traits about Soft Feather was her attentiveness to detail. Shuhang realized that the small cases already had everything arranged neatly in a sequence following the recipe. Herbs in the recipe from start to end were placed in the order of left to right. Even the dosage for each herb had been meticulously measured. An attentive and gentle lady is definitely the best. Shuhang heaved a sigh of relief. With this, I don't need to consult the 9 province, 1, group. The herbs for refining the body tempering pill required one to follow the recipe and periodically insert the herbs in a specific sequence into the cauldron. If the order is messed up, it would fail immediately. If Soft Feather had not arranged the herbs and left it all a mess, Song Shuhang would have a headache. Follow the proportion of the recipe and put them one by one into the pill furnace, boil it for approximately 5 minutes, insert the next herb, then boil for approximately 5 minutes, insert next herb and repeat. Pay attention to the fire's temperature. By using this process, the medicinal liquid would turn into a paste. A successfully completed body tempering liquid should be black in color, transparent, and with a strong smell. These were Medicine Master's original words. Reading the instructions, this seemed really simple, and sounded like if one was really careful, anybody could do this. That was true. The body tempering liquid was merely the lowest of lowest grade pills. It couldn't even be considered as pill medicine or dregs of a concoction. Refined pills did not require the consumption of true qi, spiritual qi. It also did not need special earth flames, heavenly flames, or pill flames. Even an ordinary person would be able to refine this pill if they paid close attention. However, it wouldn't be that easy to succeed at concocting. There was heat control, and the words approximately 5 minutes, which meant that the time may not necessarily be fixed 5 minutes. It was partially dependent on the refiner's experience and adjustment according to the type of herb. Furthermore, the body tempering liquid required 45 types of herbs, which meant that it would take almost 4 hours, required a lot of concentration, and one couldn't even relax for a moment. If an ordinary person wanted to refine this body tempering liquid, they would require an incredible amount of willpower and experience. Shuhang opened the hot pot and inserted the slices of ginseng. Come to think of it, the pill recipe didn't mention whether water needed to be added. Shuhang scratched his head. I have to add it, right? If I don't add it, within 5 minutes, there will be no need to mention the ginseng slices, even the bottom of the pot would be scorched, right? But how much water do I need to add? Should I enter the chat group to ask? Shuhang whipped out his phone, but put it down after calmly thinking it through. This was his first time refining the body tempering pill, so he was bound to have many problems in the process. But he couldn't possibly go and ask the chat group every time he encountered a problem, right? The cultivators in the chat group weren't online all the time. If he went to the chat group to ask for help every time he encountered a problem, and ended up taking over 5 minutes for an issue, the concoction would end up in a failure. Looking at it this way, even the 32 sets of herbs he had wouldn't be enough for him to waste. So he decided to embrace the mentality of definite failure and follow the Medicine Master's recipe once. If there were any issues in the concoction process, he would make a list of them all, and ask them in the chat group in one go. Let's add a ladle of water then. He scooped a ladle of water and added it into the cauldron, and turned on the induction cooker. Using the induction cooker was also because he had no other choice. Because the school's dormitory didn't have a fire alarm installed, to prevent the risk of fire, all sources of fire were prohibited. Having an induction cooker could already be considered pretty good. Besides, it just needed to be boiled. Boiling using fire and boiling using electricity shouldn't make a difference, right? Then, he pressed the function for stewing soup. The induction cooker provided by the dormitory had 4 preset functions. There was fry, roast, stew, and saute. There was also the function to manually adjust the heat. If cultivating really existed, then I would definitely be the first person to use an induction cooker to refine pills. Shuhang thought as he mocked himself. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Lt, report chapter.gt, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 27, Refining the Body Tempering Liquid. Shuang ko noi dung hin on Chapter 27, Refining the Body Tempering Liquid. The amount of time required to boil the body tempering liquid was approximately 4 hours. Would the induction cooker break halfway through? Shuhang was worried in his heart, pondering over this. Looking through the hot pot's glass lid, he could see that the slices of ginseng were rolling about inside. There was a mysterious excitement in his heart. Is this pill concocting? That's right, this was pill concocting. But why does it not feel much different from the way I usually cook noodles? Perhaps it's because the style I'm doing it is wrong? Using his phone's stopwatch function, while Shuhang stared at the sliced ginseng in the pot, while at the same time he also paid attention to the time indicated on his phone. 5 minutes later. He immediately took off the lid, and inserted the second herb, which was goji berries. The 2 herbs rolled about in the nearly boiling water, and they quietly dyed the water a faint yellow color. Fire control and timing, these required accumulated experience. Whereas something like experience was what this man with the surname Song was utterly lacking. Therefore, all he could do was to pay attention to the time. Once 5 minutes had passed, he would immediately open the lid and insert the next herb. As for controlling the heat, that was an effort saved for the induction cooker. It really feels like I am cooking noodles. If 3 hours later, what I'm cooking turns out to merely be a bowl of ordinary Chinese medicinal soup, what would I feel then? This simplified body tempering liquid pill recipe, could it completely shatter the worldview he had taken over his 18 years to build? Or would the dreams of cultivation that he had come into contact with over the past few days be extinguished once again? As the heat from the pot rose, the temperature in the kitchen rose accordingly. At that time, a chill burst forth from the ice pearl on Shuhang's neck, causing him to feel cool and refreshed. Not only that, the ice pearl also helped him to keep a clear head. Not knowing of the outside world and the time that passed, he entered into a state of high concentration. He lightly grasped the ice pearl that was laid against his chest. This magical ice pearl gave him more confidence in concocting the body tempering liquid. Please don't disappoint me. If possible, even if my concoction fails, at least let me see that cultivation truly exists. Song Shuhang grabbed the third herb, causing waves in his calm heart. This third herb was one of the items that Song Shuhang was unable to find on the internet, which was the morning dew mysterious grass. Judging from this situation, this morning dew mysterious grass wasn't too different from ordinary grass, both were long and thin green plants. However, upon closer examination, it could be observed that the condensation on the morning dew mysterious grass would not dissipate, shimmering like the leaves of grass in the early morning. The numbers displayed by the stopwatch on his cell phone moved very fast, indicating that the 5 minutes were about to be up. Song Shuhang lifted the lid, directly inserted the morning dew mysterious grass he held in his hand into the pot, and quickly placed the lid back on. In his heart, there was some quiet anticipation. After all, this was a special medicinal herb. Perhaps it could cause some unique changes to happen to the medicinal herbs within the pot. Similar to the previous 2 medicinal herbs, the morning dew mysterious grass swirled and rolled around in the boiling water. Song Shuhang's gaze remained affixed to the morning dew mysterious grass. Threads of cold chill emanated from the icy pearl resting against his chest, causing his concentration to raise to an unprecedented level. Gradually, the 3 herbs in the pot started to become magnified before his very eyes. At this moment, there were only herbs in Song Shuhang's world, and nothing else. It was unknown whether it was because of his extreme concentration, or it was because of the special characteristics of the ice pearl that was pressed against his chest, because Song Shuhang soon began to sense every change within the 3 types of herbs in the nearly boiling water. Every time they rolled, a light yellow medicinal property would be boiled out, blending into the herbal soup. As the slices scattered the medicinal property, their bodies swelled. This is definitely a weird feeling. The heat doesn't seem strong enough. Song Shuhang suddenly had this feeling in his heart. He felt that the medicinal herbs in the pot required a stronger heat. The morning dew mysterious grass in particular required a higher temperature to stimulate its effects. Hence, he pressed a finger against the temperature control of the induction cooker and unhesitatingly increased the temperature. Huu. The water in the pot boiled more furiously, and the cover of the pot began to shake under the pressure accumulated from the rising steam. Song Shuhang's eyes widened after increasing the temperature. There was actually a change to the morning dew mysterious grass. The morning dew mysterious grass which had initially been floating on the water had dissolved in it after a short while. Song Shuhang did not know how much time and what kind of temperature would be needed to completely break down a normal blade of grass from boiling it. But not even 5 minutes had passed. With the amount of heat his small induction cooker produced, it would still have been impossible to cook grass until it dissolved. This was the special characteristic of the morning dew mysterious grass. As the mysterious grass dissolved, the herbal soup was dyed with a layer of jade green medicinal liquid. This jade green liquid seemed as though it contained some spiritual attributes as it swirled around the ginseng slices and the goji berries in the pot, wrapping them completely. After the 2 kinds of herbs were wrapped up, they also started to dissolve themselves into the green liquid. Song Shuhang's heart began to beat slightly faster than before. A magical transformation. At the same time, he made a vague conjecture that to create the body tempering fluid, perhaps there was no need to add water at all, but rather, a special method should have been used to heat the ginseng and the goji berries. Upon further adding the morning dew mysterious grass, all of the ingredients would dissolve into the jade green medicinal liquid. He didn't know whether this concoction had already turned out to be a failure or not. Luckily, he had long prepared for the possibility of failure. The main goal of concocting these herbs in this attempt was getting used to the process. All the problems encountered during the practice of refining herbs were jotted down. 5 minutes had passed yet again. This time, Song Shuhang calmly took out the fourth medicinal herb and tossed it into the pot. The fourth ingredient was similarly wrapped up by the jade green liquid, and bit by bit, it dissolved into the liquid. If I heat it by using heat of this intensity, it'll take approximately 5 minutes for the fourth medicinal herb to dissolve completely. This must be why Medicine Master said approximately 5 minutes. Because of the differences in size, shape, and age of the ingredients, the differences in heat intensity, and differences in quality of furnaces, they all cause instability in the stated time of 5 minutes. This revelation dawned on Song Shuhang as his eyes remained glued to the medicinal ingredients in the pot. He gained a deeper understanding towards the pill recipe of Medicine Master. The main contributing factor towards this improvement was the ice pearl sitting around his neck. This ice pearl caused Song Shuhang's soul to be as calm as still water, his consciousness to become more focused, and his thought process to become more clear. On the other hand, Song Shuhang possessed a kind of natural instinct towards concocting pills. This was a talent that was unique to him. If he wanted to switch occupations to become a pill master in the future, then this talent would allow to achieve twice the result with half the effort. As Song Shuhang gained more and more insight towards the pill recipe, he began to break free of the restriction of the 5-minute rule. He started to judge when he should add the next ingredient according to the level of dissolution in the pot. Sometimes, he would toss in a medicinal herb after just 4.5 minutes, and other times, he would wait for more than 5 minutes. Unknowingly, 46 minutes had passed. By the time Shuhang added the 10th kind of medicinal herb, he had already tried tampering with the intensity of the heat. According to how much the medicinal herbs had dissolved, his finger hovered the buttons of the induction cooker to either add or reduce the intensity of the heat. He was no longer rigidly adhering to the timings, his whole person was now working hectically. After dissolving the 16th medicinal herb, the morning dew grass in the pot reached the limits of the dissolving ability. And at this time, following to the pill recipe, Song Shuhang tossed in another special ingredient, the 3 lives fruit core. As expected, the 3 lives fruit core, which played a similar role to the morning dew mysterious grass, took over as the new herb solvent. After the first ladle of water, Song Shuhang had no longer added any more water. The liquid that had been boiling in the pot for half an hour had not dried up at all. In fact, the volume had increased. Add ingredient, observe the state of dissolution and wait, then, continue by adding the next ingredient. It was a tedious and monotonous process, yet a single careless mistake could not be afforded. This was the path of a medicine master, a pill master. Even among cultivators, not even 1 in 1,000 could take on this line of work that required such harsh perfection. It was truly a path that only someone who was most tolerant of loneliness could walk. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Lt. Report chapter.gt, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 28, Last Resort in a Desperate Situation, let's go. Asterisk Chuang Ko Noi Dung Hin on Chapter 28, Last Resort in a Desperate Situation, let's go. 3.5 hours later. Song Shuhang's eyes remained bright and clear, but his body was racked with exhaustion. The 41st medicinal ingredient. Finally, it's almost over. Song Shuhang mumbled to himself. He had never thought that he could endure till this step during his inaugural pill refining process. But at this point, he had more or less reached his limit. After this ingredient, there were only the slices of fresh Overlord branch, Ninyang scarlet bamboo, ocean trench frost crystal, and core of the snow demon left. Once these 4 ingredients had been added, the process would be over. He removed the lid of the pot and quickly tossed the 41st ingredient into the pot. Before Song Shuhang could even replace the cover, something strange had already erupted from within the pot. The ash-colored liquid that comprised of the first 40 ingredients abruptly flared up with a burning stench upon contact with the 41st ingredient. What had initially been half a pot of water rapidly evaporated to 1/5 of its original volume in the blink of an eye. Did it fail? Song Shuhang wondered miserably. He suspected that since he had added water at the start, he had been doomed to fail from the very beginning. However, he had already persisted till the 41st medicinal ingredient without a hitch. His heart could not help but contain a thread of hope and anticipation. Was this the gambler's fallacy that was the characteristic of humanity? But now, Had he finally attained utter failure? No, this can't be. It's not over. As Shuhang watched the charcoal-colored liquid evaporate, he noticed how the gray medicinal liquid continued to tenaciously dissolve the 41st medicinal ingredient. He knew that at this point in time he had to do something, or else this attempt would end up as a failure. As a matter of fact, adding the 41st ingredient was truly the most difficult step of concocting the simplified body tempering liquid. After this step, it was already in the concluding steps of the process to refine the simplified body tempering liquid. The 4 ingredients after this one would no longer add to the medical characteristics of the liquid. The first 2 ingredients, slices of the fresh overlord branch and the 9 yang scarlet bamboo, symbolized yang and firmness. The other 2 ingredients, the ocean trench frost crystal and the seed of the snow demon, symbolized yin and softness. These 4 ingredients were used to purify the simplified body tempering liquid. The purification process was the most important step in creating the body tempering liquid. If it was not purified, the body tempering liquid in the pot would just be an expensive all-nourishing herbal soup. When consumed, a person would feel fantastic, but the body tempering effect would be greatly diminished. This all-nourishing herbal soup would transform into body tempering liquid with the addition of the purification process, a transformation from an ordinary medicine into a mystical liquid. And the 41st medicinal ingredient acted as the catalyst for the purification. This step was truly the one where most people were likely to fail at. Soft Feather herself had suffered defeat here dozens of times. But how exactly was he supposed to reverse the imminent failure? If Medicine Master was at this scene, he would be able to turn the tides on this furnace by relying on his exceptional refining experience and technique. Wait a moment, this was a pot of body tempering liquid. But Shuhang did not possess any experience, much less any techniques like Medicine Master. It's evaporating too quickly. I have to slow this part down a little first. Add water. Shuhang, as the last resort in this desperate situation, had added another ladle of water into the pot. Although he didn't know if this would have any effect, it could at least slow down the rate of evaporation. All that's left are these 4 ingredients. Shuhang's thoughts were racing. Time-wise, there was no longer enough time for him to attempt another refinement. In an hour or 2, his roommates would probably be back. To be honest, if they saw the mess he had made in their little kitchen from his pill refining, Shuhang could not guarantee that his compassionate roommates wouldn't tie him up and send him to the asylum. Judging from the fact that they were so compassionate to the extent that others would distribute each at least 10 good friend cards to each of them, the possibility of that happening was very high. I'll insert all the remaining ingredients in together just to experiment. It's most likely a failure anyway. I'll just treat this as an experience. Shuhang decided. Within the group, North River's loose practitioner and Soft Feather had both failed numerous times. Wouldn't it be more ridiculous if a complete amateur like him was able to succeed on their first time? Open the pot. Fresh overlord branch, slices of 9 yang scarlet bamboo, ocean trench frost crystal, and the seed of the snow demon. Shuhang simultaneously added these 4 ingredients into the pot. Close the lid. After that, Shuhang witnessed the true, heavenly ice and fire hot pot. When the 2 medical ingredients, slices of fresh overlord branch and the 9 yang scarlet bamboo, were dissolved into the liquid and heated, they would turn bright red as if they were burning. This portion of medicinal liquid would boil violently and evaporate quicker. The steam violently gushed out of the vent holes of the pot lid like a fountain. On the other hand, the ocean trench frost crystal and the seed of the snow demon cracked upon contact with heat. From within the cracked shell, an icy blue liquid that seemed to have a very low temperature was secreted. Upon fusing with the other half of the liquid, the boiling liquid began to cool down quietly. The temperature of the cooled down half spiraled downwards while the boiling half evaporated rapidly. The 2 halves of the medicinal liquid seemed to be separating from each other. I can't allow them to separate. Shuhang thought of an idea and immediately turned up the heat on the induction cooker. He was trying to make the cool part of the liquid boil again. As the heat increased, the liquid started to evaporate faster and faster. In less than a minute, only a third of the medical liquid that had filled half the pot remained. It's at most 10 more breaths before it completely evaporates. I completely failed. Shuhang laughed. After all, he had already made mental preparations for this outcome, so he wasn't too hung up about failing. He extended his hand to switch off the induction cooker. If he continued to let it heat up, the pot would be burned. However, in the midst of extending his arm, He paused. He saw that the liquid had started to merge together even though it evaporated at a faster rate. By this curious coincidence, Shuhang no longer chose to switch off the fire. Instead, he made up his mind and turned the heat on to the maximum. It's all or nothing. He might as well go all in and fuse all of the medicinal ingredients in a single breath, thereby forcing the purification of all of the 45 ingredients' medicinal properties. This way, perhaps he might still be able to cut his losses before the liquid completely evaporates. The induction cooker that had been switched on to its maximum power let out a weird noise. Both fire and ice intersected in the small pot, blossoming into beautiful patterns. The two medicinal liquids toiled and swirled, shaking the pot. In the end, Shuhang could no longer find any changes inside the pot. After the liquid evaporated, a thick layer of impurities had stuck itself onto the reinforced glass lid of the pot. Drip, drip. This was the sound of the medicinal ingredients rolling in the pot. The sound of each roll lasted exactly 1 second. Shuhang once again grabbed his phone, and stared at the time. Since he could not see what happening in the pot, he could only rely on the timing again. He planned to switch off the pot in 5 minutes. 3 minutes and 23 seconds. Boom. At this moment, a huge amount of pressure welled up inside the pot and caused the lid of the pot to fly off. A pungent smell invaded his nose as black smoke immediately puffed out to envelop the small kitchen. The smell was too strong, it was as if the world's most unpleasant smells had joined together. Even an accidental sniff would make one have the urge to vomit. Blearg. Shuhang pinched his nose, and frantically turned off the induction cooker. So smelly. Even though he had pinched his nose and breathed carefully, this disgusting stench still managed to make its way into Shuhang's nose, like it was impossible to get rid of. He ran to open the windows. If he still didn't air out the room, his roommates would have to collect a corpse when they return, and the cause of death was definitely due to the putrid smell. Once the window was opened, the black smoke began to dissipate out of the room. This also allowed the stinky smell in the kitchen to waft out as well. This smell, I literally have no words to describe it. What's more, its aftertaste is endless. Shuhang exclaimed. He probably wouldn't be able to forget this smell for at least 2 or 3 days. Could he even swallow food after this? After this thing has been refined wrongly, the killer smell is truly terrifying. Just the smell alone can be used as a bioweapon. If I can have this smell contained, then when someone offends me, I can release this stench into his house. I guarantee that it will leave a strong memory. Shuhang mocked to himself. On the floor, the pot of the lid was still spinning. It was fortunate that this thing was made of reinforced glass and had not been sacrificed. Otherwise, he would be forced to spend his own money to reimburse the school. After he picked up the lid, Shuhang suddenly felt a burst of dizziness. Streams of fatigue rushed towards him like toppling mountains and shifting seas. This was the accumulated stress and exhaustion over the past 4 hours. He hurriedly gripped the table for support before slowly sitting down. After resting for a brief moment, he pinched his nose and gazed towards the bottom of the pot. He wanted to see just what the final result of his failure looked like for it to emit such a foul smell. In the pot, only a thin layer of medicinal liquid remained from the initial half-full pot. It was black and transparent, coupled with an overwhelming nose-stinging smell. It's black and murky, kind of like a transparent sesame paste. It's way too smelly. Shuhang scoffed. How can this be? He suddenly seemed to think of something and hastily retrieved the notebook where he recorded Medicine Master's recipe. Liquid turned into paste, black in color, transparent, strong smell. These were the characteristics that the Medicine Master had used to describe the completed simplified body tempering liquid. It seems very similar to this thing that he had just refined. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Lt, report chapter.gt, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 29, Running Under the Setting Sun. This is the youthfulness I lost. Chuang ko noi dung hin. On chapter 29, Running Under the Setting Sun. This is the youthfulness I lost. But when I was failing the last few steps, I ended up refining following my instincts. I didn't use the steps given by the recipe. Then, right now, did I succeed or did I fail? Shuhang rubbed his chin as he stared at the medicinal fluid for a while. Should I try it? No matter what, this is the fruit of 3 difficult hours of labor. He hesitated for a brief second before silently coming to a decision. The desire to prove the existence of cultivation quashed his paranoia towards this unknown fluid. Anyway, the worst that could happen to him was to be sent to the hospital for stomach pumping. Of course, Shuhang was not an impulsive person. He first took out his mobile phone and scrolled to the contact page of his roommate Tubo. If any kind of accident happened to him, he could call Tubo with a small tap of his finger. He had originally wanted to scroll to the emergency contact page, but he was afraid that he wouldn't have any strength to speak. If he called without being able to say a word, at that time, the reception lady behind the emergency desk might think he was pulling a prank that would truly be a tragedy. So it's better to call his roommate whom he was familiar with. If he ended up not feeling well, even if he just randomly screamed a few times, they would definitely still respond. Let's give it a shot. If it's just one mouthful, it probably can't kill me. Shuhang reasoned. In the end, he scooped up a spoonful of liquid and blew on it. This was tragic. 45 kinds of medicinal ingredients, but only 5 measly spoonfuls of medicine remained. The value of these 5 spoonfuls of medicine must surely exceed 10,000 pieces of gold. It's just sesame paste, it's just sesame paste, he hypnotized himself. He closed his eyes and held his breath as he swallowed the medicine in one mouthful. Unexpectedly, even though the medicinal paste smelled terrible, there wasn't any herbal taste after it entered his mouth. However, immediately after that, 2 kinds of sensations erupted from his throat. Pain and burn. This kind of burning feeling could not be verbally described. What had clearly been a medicine paste that he had cooled by blowing on it, had seemingly exploded the moment it entered his throat. As if it wanted to blow Shuhang's throat apart, it emanated an endless wave of heat. This is the end, I am going to have my stomach pumped. Shuhang grabbed his throat with one hand and moved the other to the call button on his phone, preparing to make a call to Tubo. But before he had even moved his finger, the burning sensation in his throat had already disappeared. Accurately speaking, the explosive medicinal fluid had dissolved into a lukewarm heat. The liquid flowed down from his throat to his stomach. The warm sensation in his stomach was so comfortable that it made him want to moan in bliss. But wouldn't it be gross if a grown man moaned? He forcefully repressed that urge. It wasn't over yet. This burst of heat centered around Shuhang's belly and started to spread through his nerves, branching throughout his body. What was originally a comfortable feeling in his stomach had now enveloped his entire body, causing him to feel incomparably comfortable. Shuhang could endure it no longer and he finally opened his mouth to let out a moan. It was really just too comfortable. He just couldn't help it. But when he opened his mouth, he felt as though his mouth had been stuffed. He couldn't say anything, nor could he make a single sound. The thing was that at this point, he wouldn't be satisfied until he spat out those words. Hence he held his breath tightly, opened his mouth and tried to emanate his voice from his stomach to his throat. He held and held on, for a good long while. Brrrop. It was a very loud sound. It was a pity that it hadn't originated from his mouth but rather, from his ass. After expending so much force, he could only squeeze out a fart. The good thing was that since his lower body was no longer clogged, his upper body also unclogged itself. Shuhang opened his mouth and let out an enormous burp. It seemed as though this burp released all of the heat that had been accumulated in his body. One had to know that after a person matured, with the accumulation of toxins from day-to-day life, he would sometimes feel as though a burst of heat was stuck in his heart. Sometimes, he would feel his throat parched and hot when he tries to breathe. But at this moment, after Shuhang released that burp, he felt as if all of his internal organs had been through a cleansing. He felt refreshed and incomparably happy. Every breath he took felt like he was in the middle of the forest at dawn, with the cool air entering his nose and to his lungs. With this burp, the medicinal effect in his body exploded completely. It made its way to every part of his body, energy flowed through it unceasingly. The medicinal effect was still exploding, and exploding. Shuhang's entire body started to itch, and the exhaustion caused by hours of refining the medicine had long vanished. The body-tempering liquid is real. Shuhang had already confirmed that the black medicinal liquid he had just swallowed was without a doubt the genuine body-tempering liquid. The energy in his body was still full, that heat was still exploding and charging his body, to the point that it was overflowing so much so that Shuhang felt like he was going to explode. At this time, Shuhang suddenly had an epiphany. He remembered that in Xiangxia novels, When the MC eats a godly medicine, he would have a set of fist techniques or something to help him digest the medicinal power. But he didn't know any fist techniques. Although he had learned a bit taiki from a board teacher when he was in elementary school, all Shuhang could vaguely remember was, one big watermelon, cut into halves, half is for you and half is for me. Furthermore, he was extremely skeptical of the version of taiki imparted by that elementary school teacher who taught both math and physical education. Maybe that was XX Publishing House's pretend version of taiki. I must release this medicinal power out. Otherwise I might end up the same way Xiangxia novels described it and have my body directly explode from the medicinal power. Song Shuhang felt that he had to work out. How about I go out for a run? Looking at the scorching sun outside, Shuhang felt that this was a terrible idea. But the unceasing charging power and vitality made him feel as if he had to vent it somehow. Clenching his teeth, he ran towards the track in the school. Running and running, along the way Shuhang's speed kept increasing. The comfortable feeling increased as he ran. He even had the illusion of his legs floating. He practically used sprinting speeds to arrive at the school's track. The weather at this time was so hot that it could turn a man into a dog. Students who were full of vitality would choose to play basketball or something. There was absolutely no one who would choose to make a few rounds around the track in this scorching weather. On the wide track there was only Shuhang. He unleashed it all, like a mad horse off the reins running on the track. Going faster and faster. In the end, he felt as if his legs were about to go out of control. Every time he turned on the track, he felt as if he was a car drifting. Although he had already sprinted 3 whole rounds, which was 900 meters without much effort, he didn't feel the slightest bit tired. Instead, he felt that along with the heat emitted in his stomach, he felt that his whole body was becoming lighter and lighter. The more he ran, the more relaxed he felt. Under the intense workout, even the ice pearl on Shuhang's chest couldn't maintain his body temperature. Sweat poured out from every pore on his body, and his clothes quickly became wet. However, it was comfortable. When a drip of sweat flowed out, he could feel his body become a tiny bit lighter. Every hot breath he released while running, he could feel the innards of his body become more refreshed. Body tempering liquid, this wasn't something that could temper the body just by drinking it and going to sleep. Whenever a cultivator drank the body tempering liquid, they would have a set of martial arts or fist techniques to supplement the digestion of the medicinal liquid, allowing the effect of the body tempering liquid be maximized. Song Shuhang didn't have a fist technique or martial art like that. At this moment the only thing that suited him was running, madly running. Round after round, Song Shuhang did not know the meaning of exhaustion. At the beginning he counted how many rounds he ran, but as time passed, there was no longer the need to. Because, based on his current state, as long as the erupting medicinal power remained as it is, he felt that he could even run a whole circle around the earth. In any case, he had to keep sprinting round after round until the medicinal power was no longer overflowing. Thinking that way, he wondered how many rounds he had run. 30 rounds? 40 rounds? Maybe more. Song Shuhang finally stopped. Even after such a long run at sprinting speeds, his breathing was still uniform, without the slightest sign of exhaustion. Luckily, the medicinal power that kept surging forth in his body had calmed down. The remnants of the medicinal power stayed in Song Shuhang's lower abdomen, and it started to strengthen his body in a gentle fashion. His clothes were completely soaked. Shuhang straightforwardly took off his sticky shirt and held it in his hands. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Lt. Report chapter.gt, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 30, Learning the Truth in the Morning, Even if Death Comes in the Evening It's Worth It. Chuang ko noi dung hin on Chapter 30, Learning the Truth in the Morning, Even if Death Comes in the Evening It's Worth It. At that moment, at Block B6 of the women's dormitories. The position of this block was able to see the school's track perfectly. Wahahaha, come look, there's a fool running on the track out in this weather. A girl with shoulder-length hair laughed out loud. Is this a new trick of acting cool by a pretentious bastard to attract innocent girls? A girl who had a well-developed body was lying on the bed, using a fan to blow away the heat on her body. She truly felt too warm, and couldn't help but think of a certain person. The girl with shoulder-length hair laughed and said, if it's really someone trying to act cool, then he is really a failure. There are no girls in this world who would find a silly guy like that handsome. By the way, you should come take a look, Lu Fei, this guy seems pretty familiar. Is he from our class? Let me see. The girl with the great body crawled to the window and looked towards the track. Soon after, she watched the man come to a stop, take off his shirt and hold it in his hands. He had a muscular back and slim waist, and all muscles seemed well developed. He looked very strong. Shoulder-length hair giggled, "Yo, if he didn't take off his shirt I really wouldn't be able to tell, this guy's figure is fantastic. Solely based on that muscular body, it should be able to attract many innocent girls. He's from our class." The lady with a well-developed body widened her eyes, she had just been thinking of him a while ago. What a great figure, full of manliness. Along with that cool feeling from his body, I should strike before other girls know about his merits, right? Song Shuhang looked at his shirt, and realized that there wasn't just sweat on it, there were also black impurities which were discharged together with his sweat, impurities that would lead to strengthening his body when driven out. Song Shuhang lowered his head to check his body, as expected, there were also some black droplets of grain-sized impurities. Body tempering, oh body tempering. It wasn't just about increasing the body's strength, it was more importantly about refining one's body, and removing the impurities. Next, he moved his hand to rub his abdomen. Unexpectedly, it was the abdominal muscles he hadn't seen for a long time. It had already been a year and a half since he last met them, ever since he put his life into revising for university, he lacked training, so his ABS faded away, and a little flab replaced it. But now, just from running a few laps his abdominal muscles once again made their appearance. Other than this, he had recovered from many little problems on his body, like it was brand new. For example, the faint pain from his right shoulder caused by frequently using the computer, the problem with his neck from sitting too much. These problems had been completely eliminated. Also, Shuhang felt that his vision became totally clear. He originally had a little short-sightedness, which was also because he was overly fatigued during his college exam. However, his short-sightedness was now cured without any operations. He even felt that his vision had become strengthened by a large degree. As long as he concentrated, he was actually able to see that on the fence 10 meters away from the track, there was dead houseflies. Legs. Calm down, calm down. I should test other aspects. The body's toughness and endurance obviously increased, now for strength. Song Shuhang tried very hard to calm down. But fact was he couldn't calm down at all. His current state was similar to that of a drunkard. His brain desperately tried to keep calm, but his body honestly divulged how excessively excited he was. He clenched his fist, and could feel the abundance of strength that had nowhere to be vented on, an impulse to shred tigers and panthers welled up in his heart. His gaze turned towards the shot put practice field. There were two types of shot put balls. Shot put balls for school use, men's are 5 kilograms, ladies are 4 kilograms. Song Shuhang stepped forward, picked up the bigger one and weighed it in his hand, trying to test his current arm strength. But when he weighed the shot put ball, he was stunned. Is this certainly a shot put ball and not a basketball or soccer ball or something? His increase in strength was evident. At that moment, he truly had the urge to throw this shot put ball to see how far he can throw it to, but he forcibly endured his urge. Who knows how far I will end up throwing it to? It'll be bad if I end up causing trouble. Merely because of a spoon of medicinal paste, without even considering that it's an inferior good or a possible failure. For it to be able to strengthen the body this much, if one took the complete version of the body tempering liquid, will they become a strong man able to race a horse with their hands, and pull an airplane with their teeth? Song Shuhang grabbed his shirt, and returned to the dormitory restlessly. He opened the room door, entered the kitchen, and looked towards the medicinal paste in the hot pot. Body tempering liquid, a medicine is described, a real body tempering liquid. On this day, the man named Song Shuhang was convinced. Completely convinced. Ever since he entered 9 provinces, 1, group, there was heavenly tribulation, spirit ghosts, ice pearls, soft feathers, strange strength and the mystical medicinal ingredients he sent, all of these smashed at Song Shuhang's worldview. While the simplified version body tempering liquid gave Song Shuhang's worldview the fatal blow. June 4, 2019. On this day, the worldview that Song Shuhang expended 18 years to build was smashed into pieces with a bang. There weren't even any remainders of it left. A person's view of the world is not something easy to build, but for it to break into pieces, it's this easy. Whatever, something like worldview, If it's broken, then so be it. Only after it's broken can one see more of this world's truth. Shuhang murmured. At that moment, his open-mindedness showed its use. He first packed up the remaining, body-tempering liquid, from the pot, without leaving a single drop behind. He temporarily didn't dare to drink more of this stuff. Then, he went to take a shower. When taking the shower, he realized from his image in the mirror that he was a lot fairer. His skin was fair and a little rosy, emitting a healthy luster. His skin was even more moist and soft than young ladies. Damn, in a while my roommates are coming back. If they see how much I've changed in a single afternoon, how am I going to explain it? Could it be that I have to say I applied a new type of skin whitening cream? Alright, these things all weren't important. What's important is, the people in 9 provinces, 1 group, they're all real cultivators. Sure enough, I simply can't stay calm. How could he stay calm? Whoever that gets into a situation like this wouldn't be able to handle it much better than him. A chat group that he believed was the gathering of people deeply afflicted by Xiangxia Chiyunibu, suddenly changed its form. Every single member became real cultivators, and suddenly appeared so formidable and superior. This was way more exciting than winning a lottery with 5 million. When compared with cultivating, 5 million was indeed no big deal. Just the 2 boxes of medicinal ingredients that Soft Feather sent him alone surpassed that amount by far. What should I do next? He learned that cultivation truly exists in this world, learned that mystical herbs truly exist on this earth, learned that miracle medicines and wonder pills exists, and learned of the existence of the 9 provinces, 1 group. Shuhang asked himself what he should do now. He moved to his computer, and logged into his chat account. Taking a deep breath, his finger swiped towards the 9 provinces, 1 group in the chat software. Someone who is unaware has no fear, but once the things learned pile up, fear could arise. His finger stopped on the 9 provinces, 1 group's icon. The meaning of logging in this time was completely different from the past. This time, the door to break free from the world of mortals was at his fingertip, on this computer's screen. He had 2 choices. Should he spend his life as an ordinary human being? Or thoroughly come into contact with the cultivators in 9 provinces, 1 chat group, be assimilated into their world, becoming one of them? Setting foot on the dangerous path of cultivation? Cultivation was dangerous, without mentioning other things. There was some things like heavenly tribulation. At H-City, Suklan Zashiliu's lightning tribulation was so frightening, yet it was merely a 3rd stage, Hushan lightning tribulation. Suklan Zashiliu had his senior Achi by his side, but still failed the tribulation and was injured. If there wasn't senior Suklan Achi at the scene, it would be difficult to say if he could survive. Yet Shuhang himself didn't have a strong senior backing him up. Supposing he encountered such a scary lightning tribulation, he might not even have bones that remains, right? Shuhang hesitated for only a second. Soon after, he tapped on the 9 provinces, 1 group's icon with force. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Lt, report chapter.gt, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 31, North River's Loose Practitioner's Liver Hurts Chuang Ko Noi Dung Hin. On Chapter 31, North River's Loose Practitioner's Liver Hurts. Even if the path of cultivation would lead him to face a frightening lightning tribulation like the Suklan Zashiliu, so what? If it was an even greater calamity, so what? Does the answer even need to be said? Even if there were countless dangers, even if there were all kinds of calamities, even if there was the danger of his body being destroyed and his deo extinguished at any time. Despite all that, how could the life of being an ordinary human being even compare with living a life of great magnificence? Learning the truth in the morning, even if death comes in the evening, is it worth it? It's worth it. He wouldn't let go of this chance. Unless it's a rotting person awaiting death or a cowardly rat, who would pass up a chance like this? It just so happened that there were people chatting in the 9 provinces, 1 group. It was Soft Feather. She was narrating her journey in J-City to North River's Loose Practitioner, how she met Senior Song, how she found Ghost Lamp Temple, and how she caught the spirit ghost. Seeing that Soft Feather was online, Shuhang's heart suddenly calmed down a lot. His finger resolutely tapped the enter button on his keyboard, sending his first message on the 9 provinces, 1 group. MT Book's huge pressure Hello seniors. A very ordinary greeting, for sure, but for a new member, beginning like this should be perfect, right? Spiritual Butterfly Island's Soft Feather, which senior has come online? Hello to you too, senior. It just so happened that this lady, Soft Feather, was online. To her, everybody in the group other than Suklan Zashiliu was her senior. MT Book's huge pressure. North River's loose practitioner was quite surprised. He remembered that a dozen or so days ago, the group leader MT Yellow's true monarch had accidentally added a mortal. But, this person had never said a thing, so North River's loose practitioner nearly forgot that there was someone like that in the group. He originally thought that this person would end up leaving the group very quickly. After all, if one doesn't know that the people in the group are truly cultivators, the chat group's contents would definitely lead one to assume that this is a group of retards, and bring about one decisively leaving the group. It was unexpected that MT Book's huge pressure was still here after such a long time. Furthermore, his first message was greeting his seniors. This fella, could it be that he realized something unusual about the group? MT Book's huge pressure. Hi senior North River's loose practitioner. Soft Feather, thanks for your 2 boxes of medicinal ingredients. It's senior Song. Soft Feather quickly replied happily. She had been unable to find out which senior in the group bore the name Song Shuhang in the mortal world. She didn't expect senior Song to come online today. MT Book's huge pressure. Soft Feather, you should just call me Shuhang. I am just an ordinary person who was accidentally added into the group by MT Yellow's true monarch. The reason why I was mistakenly added was due to the fact that my chat account number differs from yours by 1 digit. MT Yellow's true monarch, who wanted to add you, added me in by mistake. Only after you, senior Song brought it up did I realize that my account number differs by just a single number from yours. We're truly brought together by fate. Soft Feather happily said. It seemed as if this lady wouldn't be able to change from addressing him as senior Song within a short period of time. Upon seeing this, North River's loose practitioner managed to finally understand what had happened. Soft Feather said she bumped into a very kind senior from the group, senior Song in Jiangnan, but that senior was actually this person, MT Book's huge pressure. The dots had also been connected as to why he addressed everybody as seniors upon his first message. Little friend Shuhang, since you started to send messages in the group, this means that you were able to figure something out from Soft Feather, correct? North River's loose practitioner added a smiley as well. MT Yellow's true monarch's divination seems to truly be powerful, 1,000,000 times better than that slut Copper Trigram's immortal master. This little friend sure enough had fate with people in the group. However, why wasn't MT Yellow's true monarch willing to reveal the results of his divination that day? Spiritual Butterfly Island's Soft Feather, what was senior Song able to learn from watching me? MT Book's huge pressure. To be honest, it does have to do with Soft Feather. When I was helping her look for Ghost Lamp Temple, I was indeed able to sense that she was very different from ordinary people. But, the biggest reason was the 2 boxes of simplified body tempering liquid, medicinal ingredients she sent that I received today. I tried following Medicine Master's pill recipe once earlier, and also swallowed a mouthful of the resulting medicinal liquid. Oh? Could it be that you managed to successfully refine the simplified body tempering liquid? North River's loose practitioner replied in shock. An ordinary mortal receives Soft Feather's medicinal ingredients, then follows the simplified body tempering liquid's recipe. Under the circumstances of having nobody to guide him, he managed to refine the body tempering liquid? Since when did refining pills become so easy? Or could it be that Song Shuhang possesses incomparably frightening luck, the kind of luck that can go against the heavens? Luck is an enigma wrapped in a puzzle, surrounded by mystery, yet you can't deny its existence. North River's loose practitioner knows of somebody that has luck that could go against the heavens. That person didn't need to do a single thing. If he had no money, he could just go for a stroll, and pick up money until his hands turned numb. Just one trip out was enough to last him a couple of days. It was a pity that despite possessing such powerful luck, he didn't have the slightest bit of talent in cultivating. Otherwise North River's loose practitioner would have taken that person as his disciple, no matter what. Soft Feather was equally shocked as she said, Senior Song, my medicinal ingredients should only have arrived at your place around this afternoon, right? Counting the time, it's only enough time for at most a single cauldron of pill medicine? Could it be that Senior succeeded on his first try? I don't know if I succeeded or failed, Although I followed the pill recipe step by step, when I reached the 41st ingredient, there was a mishap. Shuhang then continued saying, in the end I only had 5 spoonfuls or so of body tempering liquid left. I tried some, and my body was strengthened by a large degree. Whether it was vision, body toughness, endurance, or strength, everything was increased. Having these characteristics, without a shadow of a doubt, your refinement was a success. Even if a mishap happened, at the very worst it would only mean that the body tempering liquid you refined was of a slightly worse quality. North River's loose practitioner confirmed. As it's the most basic medicinal liquid, the body usually possesses a very low drug resistance towards body tempering liquid. So it was different from high-rank pills, it did not have high requirements for quality. Even if the quality of its refinement was low, just taking more of it would bring about the same effect. This was also why, despite having only half the effects of the old version of body tempering liquid, the simplified body tempering liquid was still recognized by everybody in the group. If it was a high-rank pill, a slight inadequacy in quality would mean the effects would have a world of a difference. Moreover, it was also very difficult to match the accumulated medicinal energy with quantity. The more it's taken, the higher the body's resistance towards the pill would become. Over time, that kind of high-rank pill would have no effects on that cultivator's body. Actually, I'm even more interested in knowing how many furnaces of body tempering liquid did you, little friend Shuhang, attempt refining? How many times did you succeed? North River's loose practitioner curiously asked. How many furnaces? It should be just one furnace, because I only have one induction stove. Shuhang candidly replied. Before he was done speaking, Soft Feather replied at the same time, if it's the number of times, Senior Song should only have tried it once. Because the medicinal ingredients I sent only arrived approximately 5 or 6 hours ago. One furnace, and only one try was needed to succeed. North River's loose practitioner suddenly felt his knees turn soft. He truly wanted to kneel and cry bitterly. He was a loose practitioner. When he started cultivating, he could only rely on himself. When he refined the body tempering liquid during that time, how many times did he fail? He could no longer remember. Anyways, he failed many times. He failed to the point of losing a fortune before managing to slightly grasp onto the ways of refining body tempering liquid. Although at that time he was refining the old complicated version of body tempering liquid, this comparison was still absolutely dreadful. By the way, what was that induction stove thing? Is it a new way of refining pills? Could it be that girl Soft Feather even sent little friend Shuhang a pill furnace? Is it possible that this new type of pill furnace could increase the chances of succeeding? When he thought of that, North River's loose practitioner tried asking, little friend Shuhang, you previously said that you used an induction stove. Could it be a new model of pill furnace? Is there such a model of pill furnace? Soft Feather bewilderedly asked. When he saw Soft Feather's reply, North River's loose practitioner felt his mind faintly hurting. He had a premonition that Shuhang's next reply would be one that would make him drown in his own tears. Shuhang gazed at the induction stove in his kitchen while his fingers tapped on the keyboard. Nope, it's just a number 12 induction stove produced by Wei Zhen Company for home use. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Lt. Report chapter.gt, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 32, Loose Cultivators and Sects Shuang Ko Noi Dung Hin on Chapter 32, Loose Cultivators and Sects. An induction stove, not a pill furnace? The kind used to cook vegetables, that induction stove. North River's loose practitioner felt his blood pressure soaring. Embarrassed, Shuhang replied, yes. Haha, as expected of Senior Song. Soft Feather chuckled. What about the pill cauldron? What kind pill cauldron did you use? North River's loose practitioner immediately followed that up with yet another question. If the pill cauldron must be mentioned, it should be the hot pot. Shuhang felt a little ashamed. What he did was miles apart from the normal Xiangxia style. He felt self-conscious. Hot pot? What model of pill cauldron is that? No. Wait, first, let me calm down. Don't tell me that the hot pot is the same pot that is used for steamboat. North River's loose practitioner forcefully typed out these words. Yep, that's the one. Shuhang confirmed. North River's loose practitioner could only send an ellipsis. In North River's loose practitioner's opinion, all these years of pill concoction experience he had accumulated was nothing but a goddamn waste. This was this guy's first attempt at pill concoction, yet he managed to refine the simplified body tempering liquid using an induction stove and a hot pot. Meanwhile, he would still fail an attempt or two for every 10 tries. After a long while, he managed to type out, "Can I use foul language? What the fuck? Medsaber 3 Waves used it a step earlier. What the fuck?" Copper Trigram's Immortal Master immediately followed suit. What the fuck? Drunk Moon Resident Scholar maintained the formation. About Drunk Moon Resident Scholar, he seemed to be someone who often appeared in the chat group, and thus should be a very active senior. But for some reason, every time Song Shuhang saw this person's message he would feel that the style was very familiar, yet he would forget about it as soon as he turns away. Bastards, the 3 of you have all fucked, now how am I supposed to shout fuck? North River's loose practitioner gloomily continued, "Take a look at my trump card. At Medicine Master, it's about time you step out, brother Medicine Master." Here. Medicine Master appeared. He had been reading the chat log all this time. After a long time, he deleted and wrote repeatedly before finally entering a sentence, "Little friend, can you describe your process of refining? Especially the 41st medicinal ingredient where you said there was a mishap." Soft Feather's eyes shined. Oh. Senior Song, I really want to know about this step too. I failed at this step quite a number of times. With Soft Feather around, Song Shuhang easily became a part of 9 provinces, 1 group without any awkwardness. But of course, this also had a lot to do with the fact that he had been lurking in the group for over 10 days, and his understanding of the people in the group. No problem, I can describe it. Song Shuhang then said, I first inserted the ginseng slices, then added a ladle of water. Wait, you added water? Medicine Master's hand speed was off the charts. He asked, why did you add water? Because if water wasn't added, the ginseng slices that were inserted into the pot would be burnt to a crisp, right? Song Shuhang answered, yet in his heart he finally figured out one thing. As he had expected, people in the group don't add water when refining the body tempering liquid. Oh, that's true. You're using an induction stove and a hot pot. North River's loose practitioner lamented. Why was it that ever since I learned the truth, my liver has been hurting more and more? Medicine Master quietly nodded, makes sense. You may continue. Adding water at the first step shouldn't have much of an effect towards the end. As Song Shuhang began to narrate, all of the seniors in the chat group had a scene playing in their minds. A man with a scholarly temperament named MT Book's Huge Pressure sat upright beside a induction cooker, placed a hot pot on top of it, then earnestly inserted the medicinal ingredients for body tempering liquid, and began refining the body tempering liquid. Why was there a strange feeling in their hearts? What relationship does pill concoction have with an induction cooker and a hot pot? Song Shuhang didn't think about things too deeply. He briefly narrated his refining procedures, and added in his understanding and experiences regarding heat control and time. At the same time, he took the opportunity to bring up several problems he faced when he was refining the body tempering liquid. Listening to Song Shuhang's narration, and watching him slowly analyze the pill recipe he modified, Medicine Master felt deeply gratified. This gave him a feeling as if he made an intimate friend. When I inserted the 41st medicinal ingredient, the body tempering liquid in the pot suddenly released a horrid stench and burning smell. The medicinal liquid in the pot rapidly evaporated. In the blink of an eye it was 1/5 of what it was before. Song Shuhang then said, at that point, I was unable to understand the reason why that was happening. I could only guess that it was some kind of medicinal reaction. I've also come across this situation. The medicinal liquid very quickly dried up afterwards. Soft Feather called out. This heavenly master is the same. Copper Trigram's Immortal Master nodded as he said. They weren't pill masters, but as a cultivator, it was still no problem for them to refine some ordinary low-ranked pills. Because this medicinal ingredient is a catalyst, once it is inserted, it represents the final purification process. Also, if from the earlier stages your control of heat and time are lacking, then when this 41st medicinal ingredient is inserted, this situation would occur. In order to avoid this, experience must be accumulated. There can be no shortcuts. Medicine Master replied. Likewise, if something like that occurs, it can only be solved by experience and discerning judgment. Little friend Song Shuhang, how did you pass this obstacle? Medicine Master curiously asked. I saw the medicinal liquid rapidly evaporating, so I first added a ladle of water, hoping to ease the evaporation speed. Song Shuhang recalled as he said. Adding water again? Oh, perhaps this is a good method of slowing the process. What did you do next? Adding water may slow down the process, but it only temporarily treats the symptom and not the root cause. Medicine Master asked. At the same time, he pondered over the practicality of adding water. However, after some thinking he realized that if he met a situation like that, perhaps adding some special medicinal liquid would instead have a better effect at combating the evaporation of the medicinal liquid. Then I simply threw in the last 4 medicinal ingredients in together, and increased the heat to rapidly cook. In the end, the pot lid was blown off, and half a pot's worth of body tempering liquid turned into approximately 5 spoonfuls. Song Shuhang replied. 5 spoonfuls, if your spoon isn't the type used for babies, then 5 spoonfuls is already a lot. North River's loose practitioner exclaimed. In ordinary circumstances, refining the body tempering liquid results in only 3 spoonfuls or so. How does the medicinal effectiveness compare with before? Oh. I forgot that this was your first time refining the body tempering liquid. Medicine Master depressedly said, I will first attempt refining your way, and will express my opinion after getting some results. With that said, Medicine Master went offline. Haha, when it comes to concocting pills, Brother Medicine Master is always easily excited. Let's talk about this after he's done refining. If it is as he said, your way of refining may become the new simplified body tempering liquid, then whomever uses your way of refining will owe you one. This favor they owe you is simply too wonderful for words for you. North River's loose practitioner sent a smiley. Song Shuhang made an appearance in this group, which represented the fact that he wanted to come into contact with cultivation. Fact was, from the moment he ate the body tempering liquid he refined, he had already taken a step into the world of cultivation. Well then, little friend Shuhang, welcome to 9 provinces, 1, group. Said North River's loose practitioner. Originally, these things should be explained to you by the group master MT Yellow's true monarch. After all, he was the one who added you, and he was also the one who chose to keep you because he felt that there was fate between you and him. However, the great devil dog in his home is throwing a tantrum again today, so let me take his place. MT Yellow's true monarch's home's great devil dog seems to have character, huh? Song Shuhang thought to himself. Since you've chosen to embark on the path of cultivation, then there are some things I must inform you of. The path of cultivation isn't as relaxed as you may think. Within there are countless dangers, and you may encounter a calamity any time. I understand this to some extent. I saw the lightning tribulation at H City from afar. Song Shuhang replied. Soft Feather reinforced this by explaining, the place Senior Song stays at is very close to H City, and also very close to J City. For you to even know about Ashilia's life,